Hello, my friend, and welcome to Security and Secure, hosted by me, Johnny Seifert. This is a celebrity mental health podcast where I say it's okay to not be okay. And if you have the same match to me, whether you're watching or listening, click that follow and subscribe button. Keep spreading the word it's okay to not be okay on your social media channels as we go to today's guest. And it's the return of the Security and Secure Book Club, where I take the mental health themes from a book right now. And this week, it's the model, the businesswoman, and now author of her first novel, The Resurrection of Flo. It's Jo Wood. Hello, Jo.
Hi, nice to see you, Johnny.
I loved the Resurrection of Flo, but for those who haven't read it yet, tell everyone what the book is about.
Well, the book is about a woman in her 50s who finds out her husband's been having an affair. She kicks him out after feeling really down and everything. She gets herself together and starts all over again, really, and makes a career, revives her career, and goes out dating.
Well, dating, courting, sex,
Yeah,
lots more sex, lots more sex. What we're going to do is we're going to go through some quotes from the book and reflect on what that means for you from a mental health perspective. So this is from page 124, and this is Robbie, who says, I know I'm flamboyant and full on, but the hidden truth, I'm a contradictory bitch, really. I tell everyone else not to worry about what others think when I'm the one that wants to be liked and loved for who I am. So let's think about you, Jo. Let's go back to school. When you're in school, you went to a convent school. What was that
yeah.
like for you?
Well, I hated school, full stop. And I, I always, I always questioned everything. How come Mary can be a virgin? So I didn't like school at all. I would have much preferred to be at home with my mum and dad. Well, dad was at work, but with my mum.
And what about the position you were in school? So, like Robbie says, he was trying to fit in. How did you fit into the class system? Where were you in the pecking order of popularity, and what was the role you played in that school system?
I was extremely shy.
Were you?
Yeah, extremely shy. And I used to daydream all the time. I used to just look out the school window and imagine what I was going to do when I left school.
And that
And
was
I
gone.
always came second from last in the class because I just didn't have any interest in learning about fractions and this and that and the other things I didn't feel were necessary. I knew from about 13 that I wanted to be a model because I fell in love with Twiggy. And I remember going into class one morning, we had to do an essay about what we wanted to do when we grew up and when we left school. And I wrote, I wanted to be a model, have a flat in London, and walked into the class, and the girls had my book and were cracking up laughing about what I'd written. And I remember thinking, I'll show you.
And you showed
And
them, but
I didn't say anything, I was that shy. I didn't really say anything. I didn't speak up and go mental or anything. I just kept it all to myself.
where does that shyness come from, though? Because as a model, you've got to be very extrovert, but being shy, you're very introverted. So where did the extroverted introvert come from?
Well, my dad was very extrovert. He was always talking in colleges and things like that. I don't know why I was so shy. Maybe I didn't have confidence in myself, but I did know I wanted to be a model. And in order to be a model, you had to have confidence in yourself.
Well, this links to page 27, and this is what Flo's saying. Look at that state of me. I haven't shaved my armpits in 6 weeks. My bush is totally out of control. I mean, this is very strange for me reading this to you, but anyway, made a sticker. My legs look as hairy as my son's, and I haven't been to the gym in, oh God, 15 years. My hair is going grey. Oh my God, just look at my roots. So, thinking about body image there, what was your relationship with your body like? So, you had the confidence that you wanted to go be a model and follow Twiggy's footsteps. But when you were looking at yourself, did you look in the mirror and go, I love that body. I could see that body selling newspapers. Or was it all a facade that you saw Twiggy's life, age 12, going, I want the lifestyle and the body parts are a byproduct of that?
Well, you see, I never thought about my body really until I became a model. And then once I became a model, it was all about I was never thin enough. And when I look back now at my old modeling pictures, I was slim. I wasn't skinny, never been skinny. Well, I was when I was doing lots of drugs, but I never been skinny. And then they would always tell me at the agency, Jo, you've got to lose some weight, you've got to lose some weight. And then I became more aware of my body. I have never, ever been so confident in my body ever, even when I was absolutely perfect. Now I look back and think, gosh, yeah, Joe, you should have been walking around in a bikini. I have never, ever had complete confidence in my body, ever.
And do you reckon anyone does though, even as a model? Because you would think if you're a model and you're sending out newspapers and you're on there, that you have that massive confidence about yourself. Do you reckon all models are still very insecure about themselves? It's just they don't showcase it because if someone says they're beautiful, then you're going to run with it.
Well, I'm sure lots of models do think they're perfect, but I never did. Just never did. I didn't have that.
Then it gets to the age of 22. And page 13, Flo has been with Max since she was 22. 22 seems to be a pinnacle age for Flo, but also for you, because that's when you gave up the modeling. So you started working as a model. What was your life like as a model? What was the
No, I
big
started
highlights?
working as a model at 16.
At 16, and you finished at 22.
Yeah, I finished 22, yeah.
So what was it like for you between the ages of 16 and 22, living as a model, doing what you always wanted to do? What were the highlights and what were the lowlights for you there?
Well, I just loved it. I just loved it. And I knew not to take things too seriously. I remember my mum was a great help because when I was told that I wasn't right for the job, or you walked in and you were criticized there in front of, they used to just say, no, you've got this wrong and that wrong. And my mum was a great help. And she would say, Josephine, just because you were wrong for that job doesn't mean to say that you're always going to be wrong for every job. She said, you just weren't right for that job. Because at first I got upset. I can't believe what they said to me. But then I realised, yes, of course, I'm not going to be right for everybody. It's like, you can't be, can you?
Well, that's it. You can't please everyone. And that's what you see on page 30. The one that was happy, confident, and that loved herself. How do I become that person who had all of this shit happen and I lost myself? You need to now concentrate on your self-flow. So where are the big moments that you've had that self-love, but also the self-doubt over the self-love that you've had for yourself?
Well, I suppose I lost myself in Ronnie because he was so famous. I did my thing as a mother. I knew that I was a great mother to my kids. But I lost myself as a person because not only was Ronnie famous, but he was an alcoholic as well. So it was all about dealing with his alcoholism. I always thought he was going to stop drinking, but you lose yourself in that person because it's like you feel like, I remember thinking, I feel like I'm drowning in his alcoholism. So when I became single, it actually was like a huge weight off my shoulders. Once I realized that, now you're on your own, Joe, it was like a huge weight that was lifted over off my shoulders, that I didn't have to take care of a man, which in actual fact, I was taking care of him when I shouldn't have done, really. He's great, he's a grown man. He'd take care of himself. I'd just been the wife and the mother. But I'm one of those sort of people, I suppose I'm the eldest of four, that I like to take care of people. Make sure my brothers are all right, make sure my sister was all right, and help my mum. And so I was always a carer. So, and I did that in my marriage. So once I realised that, Joe, he's gone, you're brokenhearted, but you're free. And then I started enjoying myself. And then, of course, I did things like Strictly, which really gave me a confidence boost, like nothing else. It was great. And then I thought to myself, yeah, there is life out there after marriage, which is basically the message in my book about Flo. I mean, she's not me, but my emotional things for her in there. I can understand what it's like many women who've gone through marriage breakup or your husband dies, you think to yourself, especially when you're in your 50s, what now? And there's plenty.
Well, on page 112, this is what Flo says to Diego. 1 minute she was the girlfriend of a hot Latino, the next she's a drug hoarder. And so those roles that you were playing have shifted. Like you said, you were the wife, you were the mum, you were the carer. You then, obviously, that marriage breaks down. You then find your self-love again. You then suddenly have this big celebrity profile. You become a businesswoman and you're doing Strictly and you're doing Celebrity MasterChef. and you've got your own podcast, and that role you've had has changed and changed and changed, and less you're being defined by Ronnie and that world, and more you are Joe Wood yourself. So how would you define who you are now and the type of roles that you play in life?
I'm an older woman that has had a varied life, and I've found that I am able to look after myself like I didn't ever before, in a way of really taking care of business, taking care of, which I never expected myself to do. I can't explain how it's defined me. Yeah, I suppose it's made me the woman I am today, and all that history has made me a better person.
But do you feel like Ronnie and but the music world defined who you were, and you had to kind of hide, and then once that all broke up, and then you found that self-love for yourself, that you could actually be at the forefront and be Joe Wood and be this businesswoman and entrepreneur?
Yeah, yes, because I knew I had it in me. I knew I wasn't going to just sit like when I was at school and they were laughing about me. When I became single, like when I left school, I knew that I wasn't going to sit back and do nothing. It's something that's in me, that I don't want to waste this life that I have here.
And so, talking
Yeah.
about wasting your life, page 284, it says, "If I'm not given the respect that I deserve, I will issue a red card and have the wedding cancelled." Talking about that word respect, when was the first time you felt respected then in that world, that you weren't just Ronnie Wood's wife and that you were your own person then?
Strictly
So you think so? Because Strictly was what, 2009.
9.
So
Yeah.
that's quite. And when did you and Ronnie break up?
2008.
Oh, so okay, so it was a couple. So a couple of months later, you went on that dance floor, and suddenly that changed everything for you.
I tell you who helped me a lot was Brendan Cole,
Love
because
Brendan.
I would talk to him when we were rehearsing. We became really good friends, and I started really having a laugh with him. And that's one thing that I enjoy, is having a good laugh. I think it's very healthy. I realized towards the end of my marriage that I wasn't laughing. I remember sitting at home upstairs in the bedroom, and Ronnie was downstairs with all his mates getting completely wasted. And I remember thinking, I'm so lonely. Yeah, I'm on my own now, and I never feel like that. So you can be lonely with somebody, and that's insane. So yeah, and then also at the beginning, I was a bit lost, I suppose, because my kids had left home. Leah went, and her husband went off to Australia. Ty moved in with his girlfriend. Jamie had already gone, and I talked to my mum and I said, "Mum, I'm all alone in the house, and nobody's here." She said, "Josephine, you need to learn to love being on your own." And that, she was so right. So right.
How did you do that, Joe?
Start taking care of myself. I started boxing, actually. Still love to box now. And that adrenaline really helped lift me. Don't forget, I am a firm believer in you are what you eat. I'm a mad organic person, have been since the 90s. I always cook for myself. I only eat food that I know how it's grown, where it's come from. I really believe that what you put in your body affects your brain so much. You put in crap, you will be crap. Simple, really.
But do you ever have binge days or cheat days where you turn off that noise and go, okay, I'm not having fruit and veg today. I'm gonna have a burger. I'm gonna indulge a
Yeah,
little bit.
I made a burger last night with an organic brioche bun. I got the mince, made it into pates, cooked it, picked some tomatoes from the garden, sliced them up with the onion. Everything on that plate was organic.
That's such a wholesome way of living.
I love it. It
Uh,
makes me feel good. It's great for my mind and my brain, because the chemicals in food. I was told this years ago when I met a fantastic guy called Gerald Green, when I was misdiagnosed with Crohn's disease. And he said, "Come and see me, and I will put your Crohn's into remission for life. I went to see him. He sat me down. He said, "What do you eat?" I thought, what? What's he asking me what I eat for? And then he started talking to me about GMO food, about seed oils. That was in the 90s, about healthy food and the chemicals on the food break down your immune system, they're bad for the brain, and all that stuff. And so he changed my life forever. I went on his detox, and after 4 months, I got ill. Went into hospital, I had exploratory surgery, and I had a really bad perforated appendix. And the doctor said it was amazing that I was alive. And I thought if I hadn't cleaned my system out and stopped taking those steroids, I could have just fallen down dead one day. So that was it for me. I laid in hospital and thought from this day onwards, I'm going to be an organic girl. And Keith used to say, "Trouble with you, darling, is you're addicted to organic food." Yes, Keith, and I always will be.
How do you deal with that? Because page 297, the key is not to settle. I've been on my own for 15 years, and there have been plenty of men who've tried to court me, Mum said, but I don't want to waste my life with the wrong one. So what are the factors of you then? So you've got the organicness, you've got that healthy way of living, you've got the wholesomeness. What is it about having a partner that helps you? Because a lot of the time you're looking for the partner to complete you, but you seem to have this really lovely way of living that you really know yourself, you really know your surroundings. So what are those qualities you're looking for that you don't get in yourself that you need that partner for?
I don't know. What do I need him for? I would like somebody that was on the same level as me, that could, the same way of thinking. But I think that's very rare to find. Somebody who's open to talking about aliens and UFOs, somebody that says, "Let's go and have I've cooked you an organic dinner." I don't know. It's like, I suppose when you meet somebody with the same energy as you, I will know it. But for now, I'm quite happy as I am. I've got lots of men friends. I just don't have somebody to share everything with, except my kids, and they're so unreliable.
Do you miss that though? Do you miss having a partner, or are you okay at the moment? Because the aliens, you got that catharsis out with your podcast. You had the Alien Nation podcast, which you did 44 episodes with. The organic living you're doing anyway. You've done the cooking on MasterChef, for example. So do you need that partner, or are you actually quite okay on your own at the moment?
I'm quite okay on my own, but I do sometimes sit there watching something on the TV or a movie or something, and I think, it'd be nice to be sitting here with somebody. But it's not that important anymore. It was more important 10 years ago, but it's not as important now.
And how did you find that then? So when you're writing the Resurrection of Flo and you're sitting down at your computer typing away, did those memories come back to you, or those thoughts come back to you that you put into Flo of going, I haven't got a partner, but I can give Flo the partner, and kind of Flo will live the life that I wish I'd led? Or is it so distant to you that you don't need to think of it like that?
My ex-daughter-in-law, Tilly, when she read it, she got to the end, she said, "I like the way you've written the end, Joe. Hopefully you've written your own ending with Billy." I said, "Yeah, maybe. Wouldn't that be nice if I'd written my own ending?" But no, with Flo, I had to search for stories, search for inspiration for the stories. And I got lots of girlfriends that really helped me with different stories and things like that. But I enjoyed writing it. It was great because I wanted Flo to experience all sorts of things. I wanted her to go out with a weirdo. I wanted her to go out with a drug addict. I wanted her to go out with, all these different people, to experience that in order to find what she was looking for.
And I don't want to bring up your age, but if it's okay to talk about, because you should never talk about a lady's age, but
Yeah.
you
28.
28, exactly. Well, I was going to go for 21, but you've gone for 28, fine. But you hit a new decade this year,
Yeah.
which would, well, let's say you turned 20 this year.
Yeah.
Not 21, you turned 20 this year. How did that change for you? In that, as you're building up to March this year, you looked at January and, okay, I'm nearly going to be 20. Did anything change in your mindset of how I want to live my life now?
No. The only thing that was in my mind is that I want to live my best life for as long as I've got left, which is scary when you start to analyze it. And I think, gosh, last 20 years has gone so fast. 20 years' time, I hope that I'm here. I hope that I'm here. I want to see my granddaughter get married, and because I've got lots of grandchildren, I don't want to. That's why I'm more obsessed about being healthy now than ever before.
Well, you're only
Yeah.
20, so there's a lot of time to go. I mean, you were very young when you had your children, your grandchildren, but you're only 20 now. What's the next step for you then? Is this you've obviously got this book now? Are you now seeing this is the future? You're going to do a Firm Britain and release a novel year after year after year, or was this a one-off for you?
Let's see how this goes. And then I was sitting in my house the other day, and I thought, gosh, that would be a good idea for Flo. I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I'm thinking of another story for her. I can't believe it. So I've already got an idea of how it could start for Flo in the next book. But I'm waiting as well to see if people like this book.
Does that bother you though? Because you've been in the industry for so long. Do you still care what people think about you? Because should it not have been if you enjoyed the writing process? Like you said, you're being creative now, and I want to see Flo join OnlyFans. That's what I think the next stage is. Do you need to rely on anyone else, or can it not just be your own opinion?
It's funny you should say that. My son turned round to me the other day and goes, Mum, you should join OnlyFans. I said, don't be so stupid. He said, oh, Mum, they love an older woman.
Okay, Joe Wood, would you join OnlyFans? There you go. You've asked the questions there now. This is the killer question.
No.
Okay. I thought you were going to go for
No,
yes.
unless it was just my feet.
Would you put your feet on there?
I don't know. I don't know. How weird.
Well, you might need to, do some research of OnlyFans so that Flo can join OnlyFans. You need to know what you're getting Flo into.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Join OnlyFans for Flo, for a bit of inspiration.
Research purposes. Always research purposes.
Research, yes.
So yeah, do you care what people think about you? Or would you just go ahead and write it because you enjoyed that process?
When I wrote Resurrection of Flo, it was like all mine, because every day I'd sit down and, oh yeah, that would be a great idea. And it was like all mine. That was mine, my story. I was surprised when the publisher said yes. And then I started to get this year, knowing it's coming out, I started to get really nervous. Oh my God, what if people think I'm a complete weirdo? Then I thought, no, I don't care. Oh my God, I hope people like it. Because when I was writing it, I liked it. I liked it. And really, that's all that matters.
This is it. That is all that matters. And that's why I think you should bring out another one. And it doesn't matter what everyone else thinks. Just as long as you're enjoying that process and you've got your boxing on the left and then you've got your writing on the right, that's a really nice morning for you to let out all that anger, but also inspire yourself and be creative.
Yeah. I'm only happy when I'm creative. Like yesterday or Sunday, yeah. I was sitting there and I thought, oh, I need to be doing something. I need to be doing something. So I drew my little grandson's birthday card. Well, I draw all the kids, my kids and the grandkids' birthday cards now for the last few years. So I sat down and drew Bo. I just need that creativeness, and I'm happy. Even painting a room, paint a wall. Okay, let me go and paint that wall.
I love that. I love that. Joe, your book, The Resurrection of Flo, is out by now. I really urge you to buy it because I really enjoyed it. It's naughty, it's funny, but there's also a lot of depth to it and a lot of heart. And I think all those qualities of you, Joe, come out in that. It's a beautiful book. So thank you for being part of the Skinny and Secure Book Club today. If you enjoyed today's episode of Skinny and Secure, on Instagram at Johnny Seifert 92, on Instagram at Johnny Seifert at Skinny and Secure Podcast, on TikTok at Johnny Seifert 92 is where you can find me. Joe, where can people find you?
Joe Wood Official on Instagram.
You on TikTok?
And X. I am on TikTok, but I've not used it for ages.
I'm Johnny Seifert. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.